This is the actress Maureen O'Hara, the lady that John Wayne said was the greatest guy he ever knew. Born Maureen Fitzsimmons on the 17th of August, 1920, in Ranelagh, Ireland, a subdivision of Dublin. Maureen's dad, Charles Stuart Purnell Fitzsimmons, wanted to name her Kate, not Catherine, but simply Kate. Her mother, Marguerite Libbon Fitzsimmons, objected strenuously. Their friends offered names, all rejected. Finally, the priest got involved. He suggested Mary. Mrs. Fitzsimmons was completely against naming her second daughter Mary. The priest then suggested Maureen. Her mother said okay, not knowing that Maureen meant Little Mary. Charles Fitzsimmons owned a sporting goods shop in Dublin and became part owner in the Irish soccer team, the Shamrock Rovers, which Maureen became unofficially their mascot. Her mother, Marguerite Libbon, was an accomplished opera singer. All 6 of her children will become artists and performers after their mother, except Peggy, who becomes a nun. Maureen said that her mother was so beautiful that men would come out of their houses just to see her walk by. Maureen had one older sister named Peggy, born May the 9th, 1919. When Peggy reached the age of 19, she became Sister Mary Margaret with the Sisters of Charity. When Maureen was 3, the Fitzgeralds will have their first son, Charles, born May the 8th, 1924. Charles will become a lawyer and an actor. The next year, Maureen will get another sister, Florrie. She will later use the screen name Clara Hamilton. She will only play in one movie, Hotel Reserve, with James Mason. The next year, 1926, after Florrie was born, 6-year-old Maureen will begin to study dance and drama at the insistence of her mother. That same year, on the 2nd of March, 1926, Maureen's third sister will be born, Margot. She'll become an actress best known for the movie I Know Where I'm Going, released in 1945. Then the next year, in 1927, on 11 September, the Fitzsimmons will have their 6th and final child, James. He'll become an actor using the stage name James O'Hara. In 1930, at the age of 10, Maureen joined the Rathmine Theatre Company and began performing in the evenings after school. In 1934, at the age of 14, she was accepted and began training at the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. Her dad insisted that she take typing and bookkeeping courses so that she'd have something to fall back on if her performing career didn't pan out. She loved playing rough sports and was a good athlete. She also had a natural talent for performing. She studied classical theater and opera. In 1938, at the age of 18, she was asked if she wanted to go to London and play bit parts in 2 movies. And while she was there, she was given a screen test. She was not very impressed with the process. She still had her heart set on the stage and opera. British actor Charles Laughton was forming a new movie company when he seen Maureen's screen test. He was impressed with her red hair and beautiful eyes. He placed her in My Irish Molly, the only film where she ever used her real name. She was then offered a 7-year contract with Mayflower Pictures, his new company. He changed her last name to O'Hara. He said that Fitzsimmons was just too long for the marquee. Maureen will start her film career with her new boss, Charles Laughton, in Jamaica Inn, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. During the filming, she met George H. Brown, a writer and producer. Some say the young Maureen became infatuated with Brown. However, she said it was Brown that pursued her. After the filming of Jamaica Inn, Maureen, her mother, and Charles Laughton was one day out to sea on the Queen Mary headed for the U.S. to make another movie when she told them that the day before, on the 12th of June, 1939, she met George Brown to see him for the last time. He had a preacher waiting for her when she arrived, to her surprise, and he bullied her into marrying and said that they would meet again when the film he was working on was finished. The war in Europe had started, and traveling between Europe and the United States became very difficult. She never met George Brown again. In the meantime, RKO Pictures announced that they was making The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's been said that the movie sets for Hunchback of Paris and Notre Dame Cathedral cost $250,000 in 1939. At a budget of $1.8 million, Hunchback proved to be one of the most expensive movies ever made by the studio. Charles Laughton had recommended his newfound star, Maureen O'Hara, for the lead role of Esmeralda, along with him and Thomas Mitchell. The film was a total success, prompting RKO Pictures to purchase Maureen's contract from Charles Laughton's company, the Mayflower Pictures. Around this time, Maureen and Lucille Ball became friends. She said that she was with Lucy the first time she ever laid eyes on Desi Arnaz. She said she told Lucy, "I heard he's a real lady killer." And Lucy said, "Yes, and here's his next victim." During the filming of Hunchback, Maureen met William H. Price, a dialogue director. She described him as the perfect Irish man. Her meeting William Price prompted her to get an annulment from her first husband, George Brown, on the 21st of June, 1941. She said their marriage was never consummated. Maureen O'Hara married William Price at his family home in Macomb, Mississippi, on the 29th of December, 1941. William, as a dialogue director, was known for his teaching the cast of Gone with the Wind how to speak with a Southern accent. Maureen's dream of the perfect Irishman soon changed. She had seen him drink heavily a few times before marriage, but soon he was drinking himself to sleep every night. According to O'Hara, he bought an expensive house in Bel Air and hired servants that they didn't really need, spending money, mostly hers. They lived here at 1435 Stone Canyon Drive in Bel Air. At the time she was married to William Price, Maureen was starring in How Green Was My Valley with Walter Pidgeon, Anna Lee, and a young Roddy McDowell, about a Welsh mining family named Morgans that witnessed the loss of their way of life through the eyes of a young lad. Maureen continued making movies and working. She was ashamed for the public to know how bad her husband had treated her. On the 30th of June, 1944, her only child, Bronwyn Price, was born. Bronwyn will later take her mother's maiden name, Fitzsimmons. Maureen named her daughter Bronwyn after Anna Lee's character in How Green Was My Valley. 1 week before Bronwyn was born, her husband struck her in the stomach because she asked him not to go out that night. After that, they lived in the same house, but separate. In 1946, Maureen became a U.S. citizen. She also retained her Irish citizenship. In the following years, Maureen O'Hara will appear in over 60 films. One such film was The Foxes of Harrow with Rex Harrison in 1947. She said they immediately disliked one another. She was always a tomboy and could hold her own with the boys, but she didn't like crudeness. In 1949, it'll be Comanche Territory with MacDonald Carey. Maureen said by the time this film was over that she could snap a cigarette out of somebody's mouth with a bullwhip. Maureen, John Wayne, and John Ford wanted to make a little Irish movie called The Quiet Man. But the studio said it won't make money. But if all of y'all will make a Western to make up for the loss of Quiet Man, we'll let you make it. They agreed, and the next year in 1950, she will star in her first of 5 pictures with John Wayne, Rio Grande. Here she is signing autographs for Moab, Utah school kids. She said she immediately felt comfortable working with John Wayne. She said, "I wish more men could be like him, honest and genuine." They became lifelong best friends. He was always there for me. We loved each other, but she made sure everyone knew we were not sweethearts. We were friends. 1952 became a busy year for Maureen, starting with Against All Flags with Earl Flynn. She liked Flynn personally and professionally, but he always found a way to drink on the set, like injecting oranges with booze and eating them all day long so the director wouldn't know. In 1952, she starred with Jeff Chandler in War Arrow. She said Jeff was a real sweetheart, but acting with him was like acting with a broomstick. Maureen stated in her autobiography named "'Tis Herself," that I've quoted from several times in this video, said that she never throwed herself on the casting couch. That wasn't her way. She said it cost her a lot of good parts. By the end of 1952, Maureen was starred with her favorite actor and friend, John Wayne, in The Quiet Man. She always said was her personal favorite of all her movies. In one scene where he grabs her and kisses her, she tries to slap him. He throws up his arm to stop the blow, and it broke her hand. Since the scenes were not shot in order, she had to finish the film before getting a cast put on it. It took it 6 months to heal. Now this is Maureen with John Wayne and her 2 brothers, Charles and James, who were also in the movie. She loved making the film because it was with her best friend and her 2 brothers and filmed in her beloved Ireland. She played the part of Mary Kate Danaher. The name Mary was from the director John Ford's wife, Mary, and she insisted that her middle name be Kate in honor of her dad, who wanted to name her Kate, and got to hear his daughter called Kate even if it was on a movie screen. Although O'Hara was still married to William Price, she had met Enrique Parra, a Mexican lawyer and politician. They met at a film festival in Mexico City. The relationship will last for several years and prompted her to get a divorce from William Price on the 11th of August, 1953. After their divorce, Price will return to his family home in Macomb, Mississippi. He will pass away in July 1962 at the age of 49. Maureen said that the family told her that he died from a heart attack, but she suspected suicide. In 1955, 2 years after her divorce from William Price, O'Hara will play Lady Godiva. Her co-star was George Nader. This is a behind-the-scenes picture with Maureen wearing a complete body leotard covered with her long hair. She said she had the pleasure of seeing a young Clint Eastwood cut his teeth in this film. The next year it'll be Lisbon with Ray Milland, who also produced and directed the film. It was filmed on location in Lisbon, Portugal. Maureen said for the first time in her career she got to play a villain, and that Betty Davis was right. Bitches are fun to play. In 1957, Confidential magazine claimed that Maureen O'Hara and Enrique Parra was having sex at Grauman's Chinese Theater in public. O'Hara produced a passport proving that she was in Spain making the movie Fire Over Africa at the same time. They settled with her out of court. In 1962, Maureen will star with Jimmy Stewart in Mr. Hobbs Takes a Vacation. She said Jimmy was a remarkable actor, but not a generous one. Every scene revolved around him. On the 27th of June 1962, Maureen lost her beloved mother, Marguerite Libon Fitzsimmons, in Los Angeles at the age of 64, believed to have been from cancer. The next year after her mother's death, she'll be in Spencer's Mountain with Henry Fonda, whom she called a gifted, tough, and classy leading man who she enjoyed working with. It also starred James MacArthur. Maureen's daughter, Bronwyn, will have a cameo role in what is her debut appearance in films. Bronwyn was soon appearing in other movies with the encouragement of her mother. And in 1965, she starred with John Saxon in The Ravengers. It'll be her last movie before giving up her career for something that she thought was much more important, the raising of her son Connor. In 1963, Maureen O'Hara will star again with her friend John Wayne in McLintock. She said she thought they would freeze to death before they finished the mud dump scene where everyone falls backwards into the mud. But her most dangerous stunt, she said, was the falling off of a ladder into a watering trough. In March 1968, Maureen O'Hara will marry retired Brigadier General Charles F. Blair, Jr. He founded Antilles Airline, which provided transportation between the Virgin Islands and San Juan, Puerto Rico. They wed in a small ceremony on St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. They'll make their home on St. Croix. They met through Maureen's brother, Charles, who was a friend of Blair's. It will seem to be a happy marriage. In 1970, Maureen bought a house in Ireland where she could spend more time with her daughter. The next year, in 1971, O'Hara will reunite with John Wayne in their last picture together, Big Jake. It will also be her last picture for 20 years. John Wayne would often visit Maureen and her husband at their home in St. Croix. She even named a wing in her house the John Wayne Wing. She said they always tried to get him to try new local dishes when they went out. They would think they had him convinced to try something new, but he always ordered steak. She received the word on August the 26, 1972, that her dad, Charles Stewart Parnell Fitzsimmons, had passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 86. While her husband was running his Caribbean Airlines, she was published in a magazine called The Virgin Island. And on September the 2nd, 1978, Maureen was visiting her daughter at her Irish home in County Cork, Ireland, when she received news that her husband, Charles Blair, had been killed while piloting one of his Grumman Goose airboats from St. Croix to St. Thomas, after crashing into the ocean from the loss of an engine. Blair, along with 3 passengers, drowned, while 7 others was saved. General Charles Blair was buried with military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. Within 9 months of losing her husband, the love of her life, she will lose the best friend of her life, John Wayne. When Maureen learned that John Wayne was suffering from cancer, she petitioned Congress to give him a Congressional Gold Medal, which they did by unanimous vote. Speaking of John Wayne, Maureen said that he loved his family and was always loyal to his friends. He said she was the greatest guy that he ever knew. She said John Wayne was not just an actor. He was the United States of America. Maureen's sister Florrie Fitzsimmons, stage name Clara Hamilton, passed away, believed to be from cancer. And the next year after Florrie's death, the Queen of Technicolor, as Maureen was sometimes called, appeared in her first movie in 20 years, Only the Lonely, with star John Candy. She said the depths of Candy's talent surprised her. He was a genius for comedy and drama. The next year, 1992, her brother James Fitzsimmons, stage name James O'Hara, passed away on December the 3rd at the age of 65 in Glendale, California. In the year 2000, Maureen appeared in a television movie, The Last Dance, at the age of 80. The next year, in 2001, her brother Charles passed away on February the 14th. Charles produced the TV show Wonder Woman from 1976 through 1979. He had also been his sister Maureen's manager. He is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Hollywood Hills, California. He was 76 years old. 3 years later, in 2004, Maureen O'Hara will be awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award. And in 2013, Maureen's sister Peggy will pass away on March the 9th at the age of 93. She's buried at the Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City. 1 year after Peggy's death, her sister Margot will pass away on April the 10th, 2014, at the age of 88. She's buried at Arlington National Cemetery next to her husband. Also in 2014, Maureen had been living in Ireland where her daughter was. But in October, she left Ireland to go and live with her grandson and his family in Idaho. During this time, she was honored with an honorary Academy Award for appearing in over 60 films in over 62 years of making movies. The Oscar was presented by Clint Eastwood and Liam Neeson. This is Maureen with her grandson, Connor Fitzsimmons, and his wife, Elja, and their children, Everest and Bailey, at Maureen's Oscar Award. Within a year of her award, Maureen Fitzsimmons Blair O'Hara passed away quietly at her grandson's home in Boise, Idaho, on October the 24th, 2015. She'll be buried at Arlington National Cemetery next to her husband, General Charles Blair. Maureen O'Hara was 95 years old. Only 7 months after her mother passed, actress Bronwyn Fitzsimmons passed away peacefully at her home in Cork County, Ireland. She was 71 years old. When Maureen O'Hara, the beautiful, fiery redhead, was laid to rest, a part of Hollywood royalty was lost forever.